Hi, welcome to Dragon's Cave. My name's Karen. Now, I recently got from BB Craft, as part of the young, I'll get there in a minute, new YouTubers program. I got some free molds, and in among the ones that I chose were these Christmas tree molds. Now, Tracey from Mini Scenes GB is running a collaboration. Sorry, let me lift this up a little. And the theme is Christmas in July. So I've got three molds. Let's try 3 different ways. So I'm going to start off, move the other 2 out of the way. I'm going to start off with this one, and I'm going to use a casting powder. So I'll go and mix up or measure out my powder and my water, and I'll be right back. See you in a sec. Okay, I've got the powder mixed up. I've got 250 grams of powder and 75 grams of water, because it's a 10 parts powder to 3 parts water. As far as I can tell, most of them are similar mix ratio. Just going to throw that all in there and get this mixed up quickly. I have used this powder before. Not sure whether the video will go before this one or after it, and I do find it sets very quickly. So I'm get this mixed in as quick as I can. Sorry if the microphone is picking up the gritty mixing noises. I'm going to colour this with acrylic paint. So it does say you have 5-minute mixing time, but I generally, well, I found it started setting a lot quicker than that last time. It may partly be because it is very hot here. It's currently, what is it? It's 9:45 in the morning, and it is already over 30 degrees. 10:45, sorry. Yeah, and it's already over 30 degrees. Right, I believe that is pretty well mixed in. I'd like it a little bit darker though. Let's see if I can manage that. I don't have any, other than mica powder obviously and resin dyes, I don't have any other means of colouring the powder. It does mix in really easily. I think this is called aqua resin. I'll add a screenshot in later of the bag. Okay, this feels like it's starting to thicken up already, so I'm going to get this done as quick as I can. I also need to make sure I'm not introducing too many bubbles into it. We'll pop it up to there. Oh, I've mixed way more than I needed, but I've got another mould I can just pop it into quickly. Try and get as many of the bubbles out as I can. I'm dripping everywhere here. I suspect this mould is going to hold quite a few bubbles in the ends of the branches, but okay, that's that done. I'm going to pour this into the other mould quickly, and I will see you very shortly. Bye. Hey guys, we're back for tree number 2. So with this one, I'm going to use the Resin Pro Eye Crystal. I'm going to paint the mould first with this spring green, upside down, laser powder, which I got from Temu. Because I'm using the eye crystal, which is generally a shallow pour resin, I'm going to use this broken glass as a filler. So let's get this mould painted. Try and keep this as visible for you as I can. Unfortunately, this is not the kind of mould I can turn inside out, so I'll probably end up just putting way too much powder in there, and I'll turn it upside down, flick it around, try and make sure it gets into all the nooks and crannies. Yeah, you should be able to see that reasonably well. Okay, so in the previous section I showed you painting this mould, but because I'm a complete nut of plank, I totally forgot I intended that for something else. So this one is going to be the broken glass and the normal Resin Pro eye crystal. Okay, so I'm going to colour the resin with a mixture of this apple green. Just think it's a little bit too bright, so initially I was going to put some black mica powder in there, but I changed my mind and I'm going to use this grass green. So hopefully the two mixed together will give a nice colour, she says. Doesn't look very nice, does it? Let's see how this goes. Put that in there. The mix. So hopefully this will be a nice, not too dark a green. Just need to make sure I get all the powder mixed in. You can see little bubbles of powder rising here and there, but for the most part we seem to have lost the lighter green, and we just have the grass green colour. That's okay. It's not exactly what I wanted, but I'm not about to waste the resin. So okay, so that seems to be pretty well mixed now. So before I put the glass in to the resin, I'm just going to pour some of that into the bottom. Get a bit of a squish to try and dislodge any bubbles from the top branches. Doesn't seem to be many coming up. I suppose I could have sprayed with isopropyl alcohol before I did that, but it's a bit late now. Pretty the way it's pulling together in the centre, looks like a flower. So in goes the broken glass. I have got more, if that isn't enough. So because it is very warm here today, I can't really hang about too long in making this. Unfortunately, because this mica powder is a lot thicker than, or more opaque than I'd hoped, which is entirely my fault. I don't think I'm going to get the effect that I'm looking for. But it's fine. It'll be fine. So, just going to poke that down into the tip very gently so that I don't scratch the mould. See if any encourages any bubbles to rise, and I can already see bubbles rising. Just going to grab another cup. A second. So I want to pour off some of this extra resin because I want it to be more stones. And I very clearly mixed it far too much, but that's okay. That's better. Now, the reason I like to put the glass into the stone, glass into the resin rather than the other way around is because it gives it time for all the stones to be coated, and there's less. I'm not going to say we won't get any bubbles because we certainly will, but I find that if you pour the resin first, or even pour the glass in first and then pour the resin, it does tend to trap bubbles more. So I'll get that up to there. Give that a little tap down. And it's done. Give it a bit of a squish. Now I won't fill this completely to the top immediately because that's a bit wobbly. I need to move it to my other table to give myself room to do the next one. So I will take this just a little higher, then I'll move it out of the way and move on to tree number 3. I'll babysit this for a while to make sure that I get as many of the bubbles as I can. I won't move it onto my heat mat, at least for an hour or two. So I want to give it a chance to degas first and for the bubbles to rise. Okay, that's as far as I can go before I move it. So I'll take this over there onto my other desk and see you for the next bit. Bye. Okay, we're back for the third and final tree. This time I'd remembered which one I was going to use. So I'm going to pour this in a clear resin. I want to do it in one pour if I can, so I'm using this, oh, hang on, let me move that out of the way. It's Rhino Casti Deep. It's a 2-to-1 by weight. So I've mixed up 150 grams across everything. With this one, the reason I want to do it in clear is because I want to put lights into it. So I basically just wound the lights around. I think it was my deburring tool actually. Move that before I knock it over. So I pulled the end out because I want that to go right into the tip. So can't even see what I'm doing. So if I can't see, you've got no chance. Okay. So wires are very springy. And push that right down as far as I can into the tip of the mould. It looks like it's pretty much there. Then I'm just going to poke the rest of the wires in. Obviously this needs to come out over the side. I'm going to have to put something over the top of this to stop it springing out like that. let me get something ready before I go any further. Okay, I'm going to use this, it's just a silicone pad. It should fit on there nicely. And then I will put something on there to weigh it down. Now, these moulds, if you're putting something heavy into them, I don't think they're going to be that stable. So I'm just going to start pouring the resin. I should have taken my stick out there before I got this far, really, but never mind. Start pouring this in so that I can give it a bit of a squish and make sure I've got all the bubbles out of there. Quite a few rising. I don't know if you can see them. It's not very light, is it? Now, I want to have this that way up. Oh, this is going to be fun. Okay, let's pour a little more and then give it another squish. Make sure that the bubbles are out. Try and keep that as it is if I can. It's pretty well wedged in there. Now I'm getting quite a few bubbles up. Okay. Another squish. I'm sure you can see the bubbles on the top here. It's not a mega detailed mold, but there is plenty of places where bubbles can get trapped, especially with the wires. They will unfortunately prevent the bubbles from releasing. So I'm just going to give it a quick squirt with some isopropyl alcohol on top here. There's those bubbles. Oh, how is that? That's almost perfect in terms of quantity of resin. Now, unfortunately, this resin does shrink quite a lot. So I'm just going to pop that on the top. Okay, so I'm going to leave that there, probably for, I don't know, 6 or 8 hours, hopefully. So as this is a deep pour resin, it does take up to 72 hours to set, which plays havoc with my limited patience, but I'm going to leave it sitting there now. Sorry, itchy nose. And I don't want to scratch my nose because I got resin on my gloves. Where was I? Yes. I'm just going to leave that as it is to help hold that down for now. I will put something slightly heavier on top, but I need to be very careful not to knock the mould over. You may have seen me do that before. It's not much fun. The cleanup certainly isn't, especially when I spent all day yesterday cleaning up my craft room. Hi guys. So when I got the one that I made with mica powder out the mould, I discovered I did not like it at all. So I'm going to redo that one, but instead of mica powder, I'm going to use pigment dye. This is a set I've had for ages. They will have come from Amazon, probably still available. I just wanted it to be far more transparent than it actually was. So I'm not going to put too much of this in. I do want, obviously, some colour, but it's going to need a bit more. I'm kind of torn between, I've got a darker green there as well, but I'm going to stick with this one for now. And see how it goes. Can't be any worse than the last one. It's actually not that bad, it's just nowhere near what I wanted it to be. These are actually quite nice caps as well. I prefer, if possible, to get the ones that are straighter, sort of less ridged on the side, because I've got quite a few like this, but what happens is you quite often end up with the resin doesn't really mix properly because it gets trapped in the ridges. Also, they're far more difficult to clean out if you want to reuse them. Okay, just going to put a couple more drops in, it's nearly there. This will probably turn out to be far less coloured than I wanted, but you know, trial and error. I don't generally use pigment dyes. Don't know why, I just it's a very loud aeroplane. Yeah, it's just not something I do that often. So I'm going to start off by pouring a little bit in here before I mix the stones in, because the bubbles that get trapped in the tips of the branches, and then knock that over. And yet again, I should have put some alcohol in here really. Don't know if you can see the bubbles rising, I hope you can. They're coming out okay, but there's a lot of them. I'm just going to give that a quick squirt of alcohol. And give it another squeeze, so I can see some bubbles still down in there. It is a lovely mould and it's reasonably squishy, so just those bubbles do get really trapped into the tips of the branches, more so on the ones near the top of the tree for some reason. There's probably a different angle or something. Okay, just going to let that sit there and degas a little while I pop the stones in. They're not actually stones, it's crushed glass. Same end result. It's a filler. That means I can pour the whole lot in one go rather than having to wait. Okay, I think that's done. Just give that a moment for the bubbles to rise. It's really noisy out there today. Hope it's not interfering too much with your viewing pleasure. There's still a couple of bubbles coming up here. I think they're mostly, I hope they are mostly out now. I am going to give it another squirt before I put any more in. Hopefully have not to get any more bubbles trapped in there. I'm going to do this in small stages so I can squeeze it. I don't want to squeeze it too hard now that I've started putting the glass in there, because I don't want to scratch the mould. Just give it a bit of a gentle squish. And a bit of a tap. Okay, let's crack on with this. Yeah, I've mixed up far too much, but it doesn't really matter. There's more moulds than any normal human being should have. So there's always something I can pop the leftovers into. There's quite a lot of bubbles in there, I can see. So what I'm going to do is I'll leave this for a few minutes. I won't make you sit through the rest of this, it's going to be a bit boring. Put a little more in here, let it degas, and then I'll top it off. And I will see you for the grand finale, which hopefully won't be too long. Bye. Hey guys, so the casting powder tree is done. Just hoping that there aren't too many bubbles in the branches. Suspect there likely will be. Just trying to be so careful not to actually damage this getting out of the mould. I haven't done many things before with casting powder. There we go, it's peeling off. So far so good. Here we are. There are a few bubbles in the ends as I suspected, but actually that's not too bad at all. I'm very pleased. So there we go. This is Christmas tree number 1. I have to figure out what to do about these ends because they don't look great, do they? There's quite a few bubbles down here, so when I make the next tree I'm going to have to be very careful with that. So, okay, next on the list. Bye. Hey, got the second one here ready to demold. I hope I've got less bubbles in this than I did in the last one. I also hope that the using the crushed glass has given it a little bit more transparency than I think it has. Oh, grief. Can't even remember how I managed the last one. Here we go, just peel it down. We've still got quite a few bubbles around the edges here. You can probably see that. The lower branches don't seem to have that issue, just kind of from here up. It's okay. Obviously that's slightly not mixed very well. So let's see how this works. I suspect not very well. No, almost nothing at all. Just the tiniest little bit in the bottom. That's a shame, but it's okay. I have some other ideas for it, which you will no doubt see soon. So I will be back when the third tree is ready for demold. See you later. Hey guys, we're finally back for the demold. I'm going to go with this one first. This was the what am I talking about? Yes, this was the one made with Resin Pro Eye Crystal. The one I filled with the crushed glass. Okay, it's getting there. Okay, so this one is one or two tiny little bubbles here, but this one is much better in terms of bubbles. Let me see if it is done. Yay! So that was what I wanted. Oh, that was a weird noise. Yeah, so I'm just going to lift this up for you to see. This was the effect that I wanted from this one. I may yet put some glitter or something on it. I haven't decided yet. So that is that one. I will pop that to the side. Move that out of the way. And this one is the one I did with the deep pour. I did have to top the mould up because it did shrink as I expected it would. So there will be some trimming to do around the edges because it is slightly over poured now. Just try and get my fingers underneath the lip so that I can start peeling it down. Okay. As you can see here, there's quite a bit of trimming to do. Feels really weird to be doing Christmas stuff. It is just barely July here. It's, what time is it? It's 8:35 in the evening and it's currently 27 degrees in my garage. So it's a little bit on the sticky side. Okay, well, so far so good. That looks okay. We're reasonably bubble free in this one actually, which is good. Now, yep, I'm really very pleased. I did manage to keep that light right in the tip where I wanted. So I'm going to trim this up. I'll get the detail finished on all of them. I know I didn't like this one too much, but I'm still going to pretty it up a bit. And yeah, I got them trimmed up. Get the pretties on, and I'll get you some pictures at the end. Don't forget, check out the playlist in the description for the rest of the crafting collaboration, Christmas in July, and also for the link to BB Craft for the new YouTubers program, which is where I got the molds for these from. I'm not sure if I mentioned this earlier in the video, but if you're a YouTuber who does crafts and you have 100 or more subscribers, you can apply to join BB Craft's program and they will supply you with some free molds if you're accepted. Definitely worth a look. Hope you enjoyed this and I will see you very shortly. Bye.